Good morning, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with the Trumpet for My People. Today is January 21st, 2019. And I just shared on my channel two very important videos that I mirrored on my channel. One is called the Purim Code, the 10 Sons of Haman, and the other is the Holocaust Purim Connection, Purim Fest 1946. This is a very important connection that needs to be understood as I'm going to be sharing with you this upcoming information. And it has to do with the 10 sons of Haman and the connection to the Holocaust. If you see those two videos, they are short videos just to inform yourselves. I suggest you watch those two videos, and it gives the connection between the biblical scenario of Haman, the Antichrist in the time of Esther, who wanted to annihilate the Jews, and his 10 sons that were hung on the gallows. Then we had in 1946, there were 10 men, 10 Nazis that were hung during the Nuremberg trials. So there's a connection within the story of Purim to the Holocaust. The videos that I shared will show you that even encoded in the Bible, there's a connection from Purim to the year 1946, directly relating to the 10 sons of Haman. Okay, then we have in 1946, at the time of the hanging itself, the very moment of the hanging, there was Joe Stryker was the most faithful follower of Hitler and the most adamant hater of the Jews. And as he got up to be hung, this says, upon reaching the platform, the last to hang, Stryker spat in the hangman's face and said, "The Bolsheviks will hang you one day, by God, my father." And Adele, my dear wife, he stared at the witnesses facing the gallows, and out of nowhere, with a rope around his neck, he shouted out with flaming hatred in his eyes, just as the trap door opened, Purim Fest 1946. Very interesting connection between the book of Esther, Purim, Haman, the 10 sons of Haman, and Hitler, and the Nazis, and the destruction of the Jews in the Holocaust. The stories are connected. Now, as we move on, I want to make some connections between Adolf Hitler and Barack Obama, and very important moments within their rule, within the time of their power, and their rise to power, and a connection to a date. March 23rd, 1933. In March, on the 23rd day of 1933, the Enabling Act was signed, and this was a law that gave Hitler dictatorial powers. This law, to remedy the distress of the people and the Reich, allowed Hitler's government to pass laws without approval of the Reichstag or the president. So this law that was signed into power was March 23rd, 1933. This was the day that Hitler received dictatorial powers. On this same day in 2010, Barack Obama signed Obamacare into law. Obamacare. The Bible says that the number of the beast is the number of his name. And so we have a law that Obama put into power that has his name on it, that according to everything that we have seen and everything that has been studied about Obamacare, the use of the microchip is included in Obamacare. Obamacare remains the law of the land today in the United States. And Obamacare was signed on March 23rd, 2010, the same day that Adolf Hitler received dictatorial powers to carry out the Holocaust. Three years later, after Obamacare was signed on March 23rd, 2010, Barack Obama made a very important trip to the Middle East. He was in Israel on between March 20th and 22nd. And when he left Israel, after being at the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, and after signing the Unbreakable Alliance with Israel on the 22nd of March, Obama left Israel and went to Petra, March 23rd. Very interesting that Adolf Hitler signed the Enabling Act on March 23rd. Barack Obama signed Obamacare on March 23rd. And Obama went to Petra on March 23rd, 2013. Petra is the symbol of the place of safety, those that would flee into the wilderness during the Great Tribulation. Petra. So it was on this day that Barack Obama went to Petra, March 23rd. This year, the last day of Purim is March 22nd. We have shared about Purim, the connection to the Holocaust, the connection to Haman's 10 sons, and we've connected the Holocaust to the rise of Adolf Hitler as a dictator on March 23rd. And now we are looking at the last feast in the 70th year of Israel, Purim. The last day of Purim is Friday, March 22nd, 2019. The next day is March 23rd, the Sabbath. The first Sabbath of spring. Jesus said, "Pray that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day." And so the last day of Purim lines up with the saying of Jesus, because the last day of winter is March 21st, Thursday. The last day of Purim is Friday, March 22nd, and the first Sabbath of spring is March 23rd. And this all connects with Purim, the connection to the Holocaust, the connection between Haman's sons and the 10 Nazis hung in Nuremberg, Purim Fest, 1946, and the rise of Adolf Hitler as a dictator on March 23rd, Obamacare on March 23rd, Barack Obama in Petra on March 23rd, and now, on this critical 70th year of Israel, the last day of Purim is March 22nd. So if that is the day of our flight, then March 23rd is the beginning of the Great Tribulation. And that lines up with the rise of Adolf Hitler, the rise of Barack Obama. And it lines up with Purim, being the feast connected to the Holocaust. So we are looking at the 70th year of Israel. Year 5778, 2018 to 2019. The last feast of 5778 is Purim. The last day of Purim is Friday, March 22nd, 2019. Flight not in winter, nor on the Sabbath. And as Jesus said, I will raise you up on the last day. The last feast and the last day of the last feast in the 70th year of Israel. And it lines up with the code of the elite. Skull and Bones 3:22. March 22nd. Will the rapture of the church and the start of the Great Tribulation happen on the last day of Purim, March 22nd and March 23rd, 2019? I pray you are blessed by this information. This is Steve Fletcher with the trumpet for my people. The sign of his coming reveals.